What have you learned from being exposed to rich people? Here's something I feel like I'm actually qualified to talk about. I was raised super poor and by fate, fell in with extremely wealthy people as an adult. So far the wealth hasn't rubbed off on me though, lol. I will qualify that examples given weren't casual relationships or, my boss was a multimillionaire. They have been intimate ones, people I got to know as well as my own family. Or better. Here's my main observation in a nutshell. They have the same character and personality types that any other person does, but those tend to manifest in extremes. Gregarious. The multimillionaire will be so, in the most over-the-top ways. Selfish and narcissistic. The millionaire will be consumed with it to the point of murder if it would remove an obstacle. Oddly, money is either everything to them, or means nothing. Same as us peons, just always in extremes. One of the wealthiest men that I've known is one of the most wholesome. He amassed a fortune trading in cotton in the 70s and 80s, and then in biofuels in the 90s and 2000s. He donates more to charities every year than he makes. No joke. His advice to me on money that I'll never forget: it's like water. Make sure not to run out or you'll die. But don't be afraid to give somebody a drink that needs it. Of course he was born poor, and never lost the habit of picking up change off the sidewalk, lol. Then another multimillionaire I personally knew was the biggest scumbag I've ever seen. He's been in jail for trafficking, fraud, drugs, domestic violence and more. Terrible person, better off euthanized IMO. That said, paranoia is often universal with them. Wealth puts a big old target on their backs for scammers and the fraudulent that we poor don't have to worry about. They also are a lot more prone to give in to vices, since they have access to pretty much anything. How many intrusive thoughts have you had where lack of money was the only mitigation, lol? They don't have that limitation. Then, they are also more likely to use money to solve issues instead of doing it through human elements. It's sad, but people born into money often think money is the answer to broken hearts or broken trust. Instead of actually trying to mend relationships, and not realizing that just throwing cash at an issue of humanity can be offensive, doing harm rather than good. My time around them has caused me to reach the conclusion that a person is better off reaching a modicum of financial stability and staying there. The big bucks are seldom worth the hassle. The TLDR: money makes you more of what you are. I was at a dinner with a co-worker and some mentors / professional friends of hers. They were older and successful. One of them said this line I'll never forget. Knowledge ain't shit. The only thing that matters is whether or not you can get things done. People on Reddit and social media love to gripe about how executives aren't the smartest or most qualified people. But at the end of the day, that really doesn't matter. They're smart enough and get the most results. I am a career personal assistant to UHNW families. 22+ years, so this is right up my alley. The biggest thing I've learned is that old money folks are constantly in fear of being taken advantage of by their employees, to the point of extreme paranoia. The new money people are constantly being taken advantage of by their employees, and they don't even notice because they are too busy being smug about having employees. I grew up poor as shit, went to a top 5 business school with 1%ers, make close to $400K myself now, and I'm a director of corporate strategy at a large wealth manager. Most of our clients have $10M in assets, so I have a unique experience here. The difference between the upper middle class and the upper class is money. The difference between the upper middle class and the lower middle class is everything. A doctor making $200K and a hedge fund guy making $50 million a year are going to have much more similar personalities / behaviors than a truck driver making $60K, nearly every single time. Aside from that, there's a ton of diversity among the rich just like the poor. Some are assholes, some are super nice. Some are frugal, some waste money. Some show off, some hide the amount of money they have. Some buy Ferraris, some buy used Hondas. I feel like too many people here are over-indexing on a handful of rich people they know, and it doesn't really scale. Gigantic houses are super creepy to stay in. I house / pet sat for a family friend in their McMansion. The dog and I camped out in the kitchen the whole time, because everywhere else in the house was super creepy. There are too many corners for ghosts or burglars to be hiding behind. There are too many windows for voyeurs or serial murderers to peek into. Even a finished basement is still a basement, and all basements are creepy. I've met and spent time with someone whose net worth is in the billions. What I've learned is that this guy and his family live a fantastic life that one could only dream of. He's also very private, and if one was to search his name, you wouldn't find a thing. He has people to take care of pretty much everything. The only decisions he seems to make are the very high-level company decisions. He owns several, and where his private jet will take him on his next vacation in the world, which seems to work out to about 50% of his time. He and his whole family are great people and are very down to earth. Kids all went to university and all do their own thing, and none of them appear to be spoiled at all. There's rich, and then there's rich,